Happy Friday, newsies. It is I, Becca Laurie Hector, and I am back once again with the next installment of Neurodiversity Newsstand. For those of you who are new to the channel, Neurodiversity Newsstand is a news discussion group that I host on Facebook and LinkedIn. And once a week on Fridays, I give you the summary of the neurodiversity news right here in a nutshell. Right here on Neurodiversity Newsstand, the vlog. So here I am today with you guys on this Friday. I'm not mentioning what day it is because it matters not to me. And I just genuinely don't like these kinds of days. I feel forced by consumerism in these kinds of days. But nonetheless, here we are on this Friday, and you guys, I am so tired, and I just had a floater. I don't know if anybody else gets migraines out there. You might get them. And so right before you kind of, well, not right before, but before the pain of a migraine kind of comes in, you get this floater sometimes, or I get them sometimes in my eye. And it kind of looks like when the TV's fuzzy and it's not coming in well. And that's what it looks like. And it just kind of hangs there wherever you're looking at. So a little bit ago, I just had one of those, which means I'm probably going to have a migraine, and I'd really like to not have one. So I'm going to get through newsstand today, and then I'm going to go rest. And as you can see, it's been kind of a different day today for me. So you might notice maybe something different about me a little bit. I have a little makeup on today that I can't see without my glasses on. But I do. I had a meeting earlier today, and so I had to put on a partial mask. You know, whenever we I think we go to meetings, and most of the time I lead with my autism foot, but it's not how I want to come in the door, right? I think there are parts of ourselves that always remain private, and that remain kind of for very few people to know, right? And then there's like all the different parts of you that go and do the things that you do. So I don't wear a lot of makeup anymore. In fact, I almost never wear it. And the only times that I do wear it is if I have to go to like an important meeting where it's the first time that I'm meeting somebody and I don't really know what they're like. And the other thing that I do is I wear it, I think, if I'm before a speaking engagement. That's probably the only other time that I put makeup on, seriously. And I love it. It's one of the things that I love about it in this search for authenticity. Getting rid of the makeup was part of it. But as I was putting it on today to go to this meeting, I was thinking to myself, wow, will there ever be a day where having makeup at a meeting isn't something that's socially acceptable or required or any of those things? But whatever, if I look any different to you, that's probably why, because I rushed back from this meeting and I was like, I just need to change my clothes so I can think straight. And then I got to hop on newsstand because you guys, this is the week we've been waiting for. This is it. This is the one. So, you know how I've been saying to you leading up until now that, oh, well, it's not been a very news week, but it's coming. It's coming. There'll be a week. And this was it, you guys. This is our week. This is the one we waited for all this time. And I'm stoked. Not only do we have a lot of good news this week, like a lot of really meaty, good stuff that we all enjoy talking about, like lots of new stuff, but we had a big whopper of a drop this week that kind of had the community up in arms for the first time in a really long time. You guys were worked up about something. And of course, I was worked up right there with you because I am part of the community. So I could not wait to come back this week to do newsstand because this is it. This is why I do this. Because I don't want you to miss out on the big stuff. And when we do have big stuff, I want to talk about it. And I want to talk about it with people who care, people who are also interested. So I'm excited. Let's get into the news because I really don't even want to talk about anything else at all, really, except for what we've got on deck, because otherwise I'll be out of a voice by the time we get to the news. Okay, I'm excited. I'm getting out the newspaper. Here we go, you guys. Let's talk about it. Autism speaks. There it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. The beast has woken, has raised its ugly head, and given us something to talk about this week. So talk about it we did. So let's start out with the basics of it, right? Let's talk about kind of what happened. right? What is it I'm talking about? Well, this week, Autism Speaks launched their newest campaign. And I will put a description of it in the description. Rather, I'll give you guys a link. I won't be linking you directly to Autism Speaks because it hurts my heart to do that kind of thing. Instead, I'll be linking you to a website called Campaign Live, where they did a little write-up of their new campaign, because that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is a fundraising campaign when we look at it all the way into its pieces. But what did it look like when they dropped it? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looked like a logo change, and it looks poopy, like really bad. I'm calling you out, Autism Speaks. I mean, you guys have money. Who did you pay to do this awfulness for you? I mean, you guys have been struggling with an identity crisis for such a long time. And if this was your grandiose effort to jump up and reboot yourselves, what a massive fail. Somebody's head should be on a platter at whatever marketing agency you guys went with. Because the new logo, you guys, isn't really that new. It's still the puzzle piece. They didn't move away from the puzzle piece, despite how much our community has spoken up and loudly about how much we dislike the puzzle piece as a logo. And they didn't just keep it. They kept it and added pink and a little bit of yellow. And so it looks kind of like an Easter egg now. So it's an Easter egg puzzle piece, and along with it came a great little nugget of a marketing campaign logo, little situation that came in. This is what it is. It's their year of kindness. That's what they came up with. That was it. So with all the money that they have that they could be putting out supports and services, and all the money that people keep giving them to continue to they had some kit, and they rechanged their font and everything. It looks like Facebook. It looks like Facebook, except it's a puzzle piece. And it's just, I mean, aside, like community aside, all of this stuff, just human being, taste-wise, why? It didn't improve anything. It doesn't look any better. And in fact, it looks like you're making fun of yourselves. And so really just, I don't know if I'd be sending that last paycheck out, is all I'm saying. I don't think they did a very good job. But that's that, right? And then there's what comes along with the Year of Kindness bundle. I'm so excited to talk about this. I feel like I'm a giddy kid before Christmas. Okay, but so this comes out as a 15-year celebration. So 15 years in the business, I say. And they have redone their logo, I guess. And so what is it really about? Well, it's really about money, and how are they planning on getting it and spreading this year of kindness? Well, they're asking their community members, again, the same people, right, to perform acts of kindness and log them in on the Autism Speaks website. So I guess people will be partaking in their social media. I don't know what they mean by acts of kindness, but one can only imagine how cute we'll all look when somebody holds our hand to help us across the street and puts it up on Instagram. But that's kind of what the campaign is looking for. And the quote is that they want to help create a kinder, more inclusive world for, wait for it, people on the spectrum. So we got kicked in the face with the logo. We get kicked in the face twice with the slogan. I mean, come on, guys. What are the two things that the adult autistic community despises most about Autism Speaks? Well, the puzzle piece, right? And then right up behind it, right, is sort of this idea that we want to be identity first. No, right? I mean, it's just stop this, right? It's a person first thing, right? We have been asking for identity first language for as long as I can think of. But yeah, they went that way. So when we stop and we look at what that all means, and whether or not they are listening to their stakeholders, or rather what it really tells us is who they believe their stakeholders to be. And I think it tells us a whole lot. So with that, I'm going to share with you some of the responses from our community, because we had some good ones. Everybody was up in arms. There was lots of sharing back and forth, lots of really good jokes back and forth, actually, you guys. So it was good to see us a little bit laughing. But of course, there's only one voice of reason for our community these days. And 90% of the time, that's going to end up being Miss Julia Bascom from Autistic Self Advocacy Network, ASAN. So she's their executive director, and without a flinch, Julia has come into the conversation on Twitter, and I'm going to actually switch over to my phone because I pulled it up on my phone so I could read you quotes of it, because not as a news reporter, but as myself, when I read this, I mean, very few people do I feel like I would let speak for me if I wasn't there. And Julia Bascom happens to be one of those people. She's like my writing and speaking crush all over the place. And so she did it again with this one. And so on Twitter, she said, in response to their little tweets out of their kindness mission, "You still haven't apologized for every Autism Day where a leader in your organization talked about fantasizing about killing her daughter while her daughter was in the room." There are so many parts of this that I want to read to you. And it just goes on and on and on. And I just want to, her last one, the PS, is my favorite. And so I'm going to link you guys in the description to the whole tweet set that I don't know what it's called anymore, thread, there's the word, her whole thread where she talks about all of it, because in person this would have been, I mean, outrageous. But her PS is, "P.S. The acts of kindness you are encouraging actively promote infantilization and pity and the further entrenched systematic ableism. Just thought you should know." So once again, Julia, great job. I'm giving you a loud shout out this week. That was a response that I wish I could have crafted. It was beautiful, and I loved it, and powerful, and classy at that. And I really enjoyed it. So you guys will be able to check that out. We also had 2 memes that I thought were particularly successful in describing the situation this week. One of them came from Happy Hands, and the other one came from Autistic Typing. And they both look at this Autism Speak situation and kind of give us a vantage point. So they'll also be in the description, of course, because I share everything that I talk about. So that's going to be coming up. And that felt really good to talk about. You guys, this is the stuff that we go on and talk about in our groups, and I haven't really been able to share it because we haven't had a good kind of juicy one to talk about. So that's that. I mean, if we're gonna be stuck in this mire, we might as well be sharing it with each other. But now on to the real news, the news of news, the news that matters, which is the news that's pushing us forward, not pulling us back, and not keeping us in our own history. And that is some of this stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you next. So you guys, like I said, it was a heavy news week. We didn't just have that one big one pop out on us. We had a lot of really good, important pieces come out this week. And I'm excited to see so much of it in the mainstream, of course, because that's my excitement of all things. So this one came out of thinkprogress.org. Alaska will no longer allow workers with disabilities to be paid less than minimum wage. Yay, right? That's nothing but good news. Of course, that it's, on top of bad news, it was even happening in the first place, but it was. And the little kind of subtitle says it all, which is, yes, that was a thing, and yes, it is completely legal. And that's where the problem really lies, right? There's no particular person to blame, but rather the system in which we are entrenched. And so I think it would be an interesting piece for you guys to take a good look at. Not a long one, nothing too detailed, just kind of laying it out there. Glad that it's going on. Congratulations, Alaska. Next up came out of The Mighty, and this one was a little piece about Exceptional Minds and talking about the Minds, Exceptional Minds, which is a professional studio. They do studio training for people on the spectrum, for adults on the spectrum, and they shared the filmmakers out of their program that were part of the Oscar movies this year, and reminding us that they're a part of kind of our enjoyment, part of entertainment, and a little bit kind of a blast about that program. But I was happy to see it at least mentioned, because we're not just the computer people, we're all over the place making lots of things happen. So that was a good one. Let's see. Next up came out of The Lily. This was another really good one. So Autistic people on TV are often white men was the title, right? It had another little long subheading. And basically, this is an article from Sarah Lutterman. A bunch of you might know her. She's a great advocate. And this piece was about the outsider and the main character in The Outsider, who's a private investigator, who is being portrayed by a black actress. And there is no doubt kind of in the intricacies of the character and kind of the things that were drawn to, that this character is obviously somewhere on the spectrum, even though it's not stated, clearly. So this piece in the Lily from Sarah Lutterman about autistics in TV and autistics of color. So glad, again, repeat from last week. We're hearing more about it. It's coming back again. So we're seeing movement is what we're seeing. We're seeing it be talked about, which is better than shoving it under the rug. Yay. And I'm going quickly, you guys, because I see I'm already 15 minutes in, which is insane, and I have more. There's so much. So I'm not going to talk too long. Again, I'm going to repeat one more time. Everything I talk about will be in the description. So if you want to hear about it again, or you want more details that I didn't give you enough, you'll find it in the description of this video. USA Today had an article out this week that we all were kind of talking about, and none of us were really all that surprised about. So 2 boys with the same diagnosis tried to get help. The rich student got it quickly. The poor student did not. No shocker there. It was based in New York City, and it was really a kind of a story about why parents are choosing private schools over public schools, and what is going on in there. But it is about the services demand and whether or not where you sit in the world kind of, and how, not where, but how it affects kind of your services and availability of services. So a good piece there. Oh, I can feel the migraine coming. Stop. I have more. All right. Out of the University of Texas at Dallas, a study challenges assumptions about social interaction difficulties in autism. You know I love my research, you guys. I really do love my research. So this was like my favorite piece from this week that came out. And of course, it talks about how the double empathy problem, essentially, right? So we've talked about that a bunch in a lot of our news and a lot of our articles. And that is that it's already assumed, and they find it in the study, that it's already assumed that any difficulties within a social exchange are fully to blame on the autistic person, right? And that's why we are the ones with social interaction difficulties. But when we stop to look at it, we actually find that as much difficulty as autistics are having inferring from neurotypicals, it's going the other way. Neurotypicals are having just as much trouble inferring what it is that we mean, which means it's not what? Our fault, right? It's an equal opportunity employer. And so that's what the study's finding. It came out of the University of Texas at Dallas, so you can take a look at that study with me. And then that's it for news. But I'm going to move us on to our blogs, because I love what our community shares, and I consider it news to us when a new blog piece kind of hits our community and we all enjoy it. So about to give some shout outs here. First shout out goes to Autistic Zebra. Autistic behaviors are human behaviors. Really, really good piece this week coming out of that, talking about how a lot of our behaviors as autistics are responses to stress. And all humans respond to stress. And it's really that we don't want to blame the autism, but you want to blame sort of that particular person for their behaviors, for their humanness, right? Not necessarily their autisticness. When people make mistakes. And so I liked this piece. I liked that take on it. I liked thinking about it from that direction. So really good one, Autistic Zebra. Liked that one. Good share. Next up, from the Aspergian this week, again, another Lady Snessa piece. Love your writing, girl. I give you shout outs all the time. But this one flew far and wide, and it was a really important piece for you guys to take notice of. If you didn't, please look in the description for it and take a read. It is called 10 Good Boundaries to Have as an Autistic Advocate. So haters don't burn you out. I can't tell you how essential my boundaries are. I can't talk about it enough. I can't tell you how important they are in your personal life, in your work life, all over the place in your life. Boundaries are important, and setting good ones in an advocate position is really important because it's rough waters, especially when we're in the habit of turning on each other. Yep. So I loved this piece. Lady Snasa, I thought your advice was fantastic advice. My favorite one was number 1, and it says, you don't have to make everybody happy. That is my favorite one. It's number 1. It was such a good choice, and I hope you'll go and you'll read the others. There's another 9, and they were great. It's a nice, good old listicle piece, not a hard read at all, but a good one, a good food for thought one about how you take care of yourself. Okay, and the last blog for this week that I'll be shouting out, the shout out goes to Maura Campbell, Spectrum Women. She came out with a new piece this week called Autism, A Brave New World. And this week, she tackles what to say or what not to say when people say to you how brave you are for living openly autistic, which we all have our own ways of feeling about it. And I think Maura puts pen to paper here in this one, and she really kind of puts it down, what it is that we talk about when we talk about kind of being brave, or what do you mean, I guess, when you say being brave. And I don't think it's what they mean when they use brave. And so it was an interesting piece. Really liked this one, Maura. It was a good one to really get you thinking. So I hope you guys will take a look at that. And with that, I am going to move us on to books. I know there's so much going on. Take a breath. Books, lots of them, right? So this week I've got a few to share with you. First of all, big news from the Hannah Gadsby camp. She's going to be releasing a memoir called The 10 Steps to Nanette, and she's going to be talking about the emotional healing that went on with putting Nanette together, and I think even afterwards. So that one's been bought by a big publisher, and it will be out sometime next year. Word on the street is it will come out in Australia first, and rightly so. So keep a lookout for that, you guys, sometime in the next year. If you're continuing to watch Newsstand, when it comes out, you know, I'm going to let you know. So keep watching here. And more in books. I know I have more. I have one more page, you guys. All right, if you're still hanging on. Out in pre-order this week, we have Spectrums, Autistic Transgender People in Their Own Words. Maxfield Sparrow, really good friend of mine, fellow advocate and fantastic writer, has edited a bunch of pieces from transgender autistic folk, and they have put together this fantastic manuscript. So it is out in pre-order now, and it will physically be out in paperback July 21st. So I will have a link to the Amazon of that at the end of this. So go ahead and get your copy now. And out now, right now, coming out of Canada, is from Sarah Kirchick. Came out with her book, her memoir, I Overcame My Autism, and all I got was this lousy anxiety disorder. I've seen some chit-chat back and forth from you guys. Not all of you are thrilled with her title, but I say let's give it a chance and take a look at what the contents of the book are. I ordered mine. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but we'll let you know. But that is out, so congratulations, Sarah. Congratulations, Sarah, on your book coming out this week, and I hope you hear my shout out from afar. And last up this week are the events coming your way. Events to talk about. Hashtag Our Golden Moment. We've been talking about it some this week. It was originally set for April 1st. It's now been set for April 1st and 2nd. It is going to be coming out days for the autistic community, so that we can reclaim the narrative of April. And this is being put together by Tacey Traverso, who I've mentioned before on here, the Autistic Wolf on Facebook, Tacey Traverso on LinkedIn if you follow, and she is putting together this moment. She has heard your talk, things have been adjusted, but I say get involved in this movement. I think it's such a great idea to take back our month. It's about time we start looking forward to it instead of running away from it. So that will be happening April 1st and April 2nd, and you can get involved now. I'll give you a link. Also coming up, 5th annual ADHD Women's Palooza. Just heard about it this year. It's just getting my attention, but everyone is really excited about it for 2 reasons. First, they've got a lot of really good speakers, and it's multiple days, February 24th to February 29th, and my second favorite thing about it, It's an online event, which makes it accessible, which means you guys can go and you don't need to buy a plane ticket or anything. So go ahead and take a look at the link. You can register for it if you're interested in learning some more about ADHD, and I will give you the link. And the last event that I'll be talking about today is the Ausome Autism Conference, which is coming out of Cork. They are setting 2 dates, actually, because their February conference was such a success. So they're going to be doing one in March, which is March 29th, and another one in November, which is November 15th. I will give you the link. You can go ahead and find out more about it. That's kind of all the details that I have right now. And that's it. I made it. I made it through all of this week's news. I can't believe it. I'm so psyched. And I'm really excited to have finally been able to share with you guys my idea of what a real, I think, version of Newsstand would look like when our news is ready. I mean, this is the week you need it, right? There was so much going on. And I enjoyed it. And I was looking forward to talking to you guys this week. So I'm glad. I'm glad that we're doing this. I don't have more else for you. More else, whatever more else is. I don't have any more for you guys, and I'm sure, going to get the migraine. I'm going to go hide from all the light and hope that I don't. And in the meantime, you guys have an amazing weekend. Do something amazing. I'm going to try to do something amazing. Share your amazingness with me in the comments. Of course, tell me what you think of this video. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Right now I got my 9 solid thumbs uppers, and I don't really get thumbs down, which makes me happy, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I want to be more controversial. I don't know. But keep it up. I really like to know what you guys are thinking. So please let me know. Tell me what you got in the comments. If you don't want to share it in the comments, you can reach me directly at info@beccalaurie.com. If you want more of me and you're really enjoying this channel, A, subscribe. B, hit the notifications bell. And C, make sure you don't miss Becca's Backyard live. So once a week on Tuesdays, I do a live stream right here on my YouTube channel where I talk about kind of some of the challenges of being an autistic adult and how I'm moving through my challenges and some sage pieces of advice for you with your challenges. Hopefully more of you will start watching the live stream so I can start taking questions live. I'm going to be trying to tackle that next week. So please tune in as I sit with you in my backyard and share my life with you. And that is going to be on Tuesdays at 2:20 p.m. right here on this channel, Mountain Standard Time. So do your math. And that's about it. Have an amazing weekend, you guys. I love hanging out with you newsies. So rest your eyes so next week we can read more news. I'll see you in about a few days, I guess. Have a good one, you guys. I'll see you next week.